Hi everyone, it's Jasmine here and welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to show you how to make cinnamon rolls. I'm going to show you my version of my cinnamon rolls. I tried making this a few weeks ago and I've been making a few batches of it. My kids love it. I brought some to work as well and my colleagues enjoyed it. A few asked for the recipes and I promised them that I'm going to upload it in my YouTube channel. So there you go guys. I'm going to show you now how to make cinnamon rolls. So the first step we're going to do is I'm going to pour in 1 1/4 cup of 2% milk. And we'll just let it warm up into body temperature or a little bit warmer. So once the milk is ready, we're going to pour it into this bowl. And into our milk, I'm going to pour 1/4 cup of granulated white sugar. And to it, we're going to add 2 teaspoonfuls of yeast. We're going to wait 5 minutes to ensure that the yeast are active or alive. And then we're going to pour in the remaining ingredients. So after 5 minutes, this is what it should look like. That means the yeast are alive and active. So now we're going to add 1/2 cup of melted butter, one of tbsp salt, and 1 whole egg lightly beaten. So we'll give it a good mix. To add 3 1/2 cups of all-purpose flour. That's 1. Two. And last one, 1/2 cup. We're going to combine all of these ingredients well to form a dough. So we're going to use probably about just half teaspoonful of vegetable oil, just enough to cover the dough. So in the inside of the bowl, just put a small amount of oil, or brush it with a small amount of oil, or use your fingers. This is just to prevent the dough from sticking into the bowl. So we're going to put the dough inside. We'll cover it with a plastic wrap. And cover with a tea towel, and we'll put this in a clean, warm, dry place, and we'll wait for the dough to rise until it's about double its size. So approximately about 1 hour to an hour and a half. It depends on how warm the temperature of the room is. While waiting for the dough to rise, I'm going to prepare the filling. I love to add apples in my cinnamon rolls, so I'm going to use Granny Smith apple, and I have an old apple that's been sitting there for a while, so I'm just gonna add that one too. So I'm going to use 3 apples for my filling. So with my apple, I'm just gonna slice him into thin wedges. So once we're done slicing the apple, I'm going to boil it. I added about 2 tablespoonfuls of water, and we're going to boil until the apples become soft. We'll check the apples if it's done. I think it's done now, so I'm going to turn it off and we'll let it cool down. Set it aside. So we also need 1 cup of brown sugar and 2 tablespoons of cinnamon powder. One. So we're going to mix these two together. So once they're well combined, I'd like to put at least 1/4 of the mixture and stir it into our apple. This is just to for the apple to absorb the sweetness and the cinnamon flavor and the sweetness of the brown sugar. Okay, so I will set this aside and I'm going to check our dough. So we're going to check our dough. So our dough has doubled in size. So this is what it looks like now. So just punch our dough and I'm going to transfer it into our board here. So on a lightly floured surface, We're going to flatten our dough. So we're going to flatten it into a rectangular shape. So this should be good enough. And here we're going to spread about 3 tablespoonfuls of butter. So once they are evenly spread, we're going to put a layer of the cinnamon and brown sugar mixture. And now we're going to add the apples. If you find the apple way too wet, you can add a little bit of flour as well to absorb the moisture. So I'm just gonna spread it like this. Then we're going to sprinkle on top the remaining brown sugar and cinnamon mixture. Then you'll just We're going to make the caramel, so I'm going to add 1 cup of brown sugar into a medium-sized saucepan. I'm going to add about 1/2 cup of butter. And about 1/4 cup of maple syrup. I'm using the Aunt Jemima because we have this for a while now. I don't want it to get wasted. We haven't been making a lot of pancakes, so I'm just gonna add it here. And we're going to add also about 1/4 cup of milk. So once it starts to look like this, it's time to turn off the heat. And then we'll pour it right into our baking pans. Just spread it evenly. And into our rectangular pan, I'm going to add pecans on it. The round ones, I'm going to add pecans because my kids, they don't want the nuts. But I love these pecans. So I'm going to add it. You can also add raisins if you want. And you can also add this into the filling, and you can, or the raisins into the filling. So we're going to cut our cinnamon log. So first I cut it in the middle, and here, we're going to lay it here into our pan. So we'll cover this with a plastic cover, or with and we'll let it stand for 20 minutes more for the second rise. And at this time we can preheat our oven to 350 degrees Fahrenheit. So our cinnamon rolls have risen more. So they're ready to be popped in the oven. So we're going to bake it at 350 degrees Fahrenheit for about 45 to an hour. So after 25 minutes, it's good to check just to make sure that the top is not getting burnt or getting brown too much. And after 25 minutes you can add a foil on top of it. So now we're going to pop it in the oven. Put these two side by side. So I'm going to set the timer on to 25 minutes. 25 minutes had passed. So we're going to turn the timer off and we're going to check. There you go. Oops, sorry guys. I'm going to, I think I'm gonna have to cover this. It's starting to brown really well, but I'm going to cover this with a foil. Then I'm going to continue to bake it for another 30 minutes. While waiting for the cinnamon roll to be ready, I'm going to make the glaze. This is optional, you don't have to, but I just want all the goodness in my cinnamon roll, so I'm going to make the glaze. So what you need is you're going to need about 3 tablespoonfuls of cream cheese. And about the same amount of butter. So about 3 tablespoonfuls of butter as well. So about a teaspoonful of lemon. And about a teaspoonful of vanilla extract. So we're just going to combine all these ingredients together until they form a smooth consistency. So you can also use a food processor for this, but with this one I'm not going to use my food processor. Less utensils to clean up. So when the consistency start to look like this, you can add about 1 to 2 tablespoonfuls of milk. So it depends on how thin you want your glaze. So you can start with just a tablespoon and you'll take it from there. So I added about a tablespoonful of milk, I should say. Then you just mix the milk into the cream cheese, butter, and the icing sugar. So there you go. So this is what the consistency, how I like the consistency of the glaze. Cinnamon roll is ready. Let's check. So our cinnamon rolls are ready. They smell good and they look good as well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn them upside down. You can also leave it as this and drizzle the glaze on top, but I like to see the caramel on top of the cinnamon roll, so I'm going to turn them over. So this is our cinnamon roll. I just turn it over the one with the pecan at the bottom, and it looks really good. And this one, since my kids love the glaze, so I'm going to drizzle the glaze on top of this one. So what you can do is you can also set aside the glaze, and you just can add more if you want. So there you go, guys. This is our cinnamon roll loaded with all the goodness in it.